friends, welcome back or welcome. If this is your first time hanging out, hello, my name is Maida. For this video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this Donnie Darko inspired Inky set. Right now, I'm just showing you the products that I'm going to be using for this press-on set and apologizing to you right off the bat because this video was actually supposed to be up quite a few days ago, bordering on weeks now. This was supposed to go up before Halloween, but we ended up rescuing a kitten. She was a little bit sick, so I've kind of been trying to divvy up my time between helping her get back to health and then all the other things that we do as adults, the boring stuff. But anyway, I'm showing you the cute little flash curing lamp that I just got. This is from Melody Susie. I had an old one from Swaziland. I liked how it cured. However, it suddenly stopped working. It stopped holding charge. So I had to get a new one, and we'll see how long this one lasts. But this is what the set is going to look like. I'm going to do 5 pre-sketched designs and then 5 freestyle nails. I'm starting off with some base colors. So for this set, I decided to use a baby blue kind of base as well as a grayish, like a blue toned grayish kind of color. And then I'm also going to be adding some blue cat eye gels to some of these. And I'm very excited to show you how awesome the spiral cat eye trend that I've been seeing around. I'm excited to show you how cool it actually looks. But anyway, yeah, I've really been into inks as of late. I have enjoyed using the ones that come in the bottles and like your typical kind of ink, but I've also discovered that you can use Sharpie or like permanent markers to create this kind of inky effect as well. So I'm going to show you how I do that. And after I applied a little bit of this liquid flake glitter on the nail, I'm going to add a matte top coat, and then we're going to go over that with the bottled inks. And this is basically just for me to show you. I actually don't really prefer the bottled inks. I don't know, maybe I just haven't found a good set of them. As you can see, they're not too difficult to remove. They do stain a little bit, but if you give the nail a good scrub, I didn't do a very good job on this one, but if you do give the nail a good scrub, you'll get all of the pigment off. But again, I just wanted to show you what a design with inks, like the bottled inks, would look like. But I actually end up using this Sharpie marker, and this is basically because I find that I have more control with a Sharpie rather than the brush that comes in those bottled inks. So I will go ahead and draw my design with a Sharpie. Then with a brush, I'll dip it into alcohol and apply it over the areas that contain that ink. And then what that does is that it kind of helps the ink spread a little bit and almost bloom in a way. And I really enjoy that effect. I feel that using inks is super reminiscent to playing with watercolors. I'm not sure how many of you would be familiar with watercolor, but if you are even just a smidge familiar with watercolor, I feel like inks are going to come very natural to you. I find them to be very easy to use. And some of the watercoloring techniques really do transfer to using inks. As you just saw, I drew my design, went ahead and wet the design just a certain amount with alcohol, added a matte top coat over top just to protect the drawing. And I wanted just a little bit more definition for this design. So I did end up using my Ballpit liner gel. This is great for kind of doing outlines. So yeah, I just added a little more definition to what I drew. I also used a mirror gel, just a random mirror gel that I have, to also add just a couple of highlights here and there, and then to do like that silver eye that is in the Donnie Darko bunny. If you know, you know. No spoilers. So anyway, about those watercolor techniques that I briefly touched on a few seconds ago. So what I mean by that is you can use the brush with alcohol to pick up some of the product and kind of pull out some highlights from whatever it is that you just painted, you know. You can also layer the inks or Sharpie, and this will kind of help you create that saturation. If you guys are interested, I'd be happy to create a video in which I go more in depth about inks and Sharpies, but honestly, I don't want to complicate things for y'all. These supplies are so fun to use that like it really just takes a little bit of experimenting and a little bit of practice to kind of get the hang of them. So anyway, I wanted to show you how cool this cat eye spiral came out. Look at that. Look at it. Oh my gosh. It's so freaking dope. I've seen this on Instagram so many freaking times and I wanted to give it a try, and yeah, I just felt like it fit really well for a design such as this one. Donnie Darko is actually one of my absolute favorite movies, and it's more like the sci-fi kind of side of things. It's such a good movie. If you haven't watched it, give it a chance because I find it to be very thought-provoking. So I decided to incorporate that spiral cat eye into this set. And I wanted the letters to look very handwritten, you know, almost in a kind of messy, grungy kind of way. That is what I did. Then I went over the rim of the nail, if you will, just darkened it a little bit more and created almost like a vignette. And yeah, I'm very happy with that. Next up is this blooming gel design. I don't know, I thought I was doing something really dope and then it just kind of looked like it wouldn't fit. We end up making it work. I'll go into my reservations about it later, but yeah, this is one of the freestyle nails and it's not my favorite, but spoiler, I do end up using it in the set, so it wasn't that bad. And here I'm just showing you another nail that I did, and this is the guy in the bunny costume. I do recommend experimenting with different brushes to see if you prefer a skinnier liner brush. I actually go between using a skinny liner brush and also something a little bit on the thicker side, but still tapered. This just kind of helps me place the alcohol where I need it to go, and it holds just the right amount of alcohol as well. For this design, I didn't want there to be too much movement of ink, so I didn't want too much alcohol on my brush. All right, babes, I had to stop for the night last night, and this is where I left off. I did make a couple of changes, or rather just one kind of change here on the bunny mask. I felt like the design was looking off. It just needed like darkness, I suppose, to really help tie it together with the other couple of nails that I managed to work on yesterday. I'm noticing though, I don't know how much I love this nail, the blooming gel nail. I used my Ballpit black gel liner gel on top of the blooming gel, and it did great. I really did like the look of it. However, I felt like because I'm using that Sharpie, it's not an original Sharpie. It's just King Art. I'm pretty sure I got this at TJ Maxx or something. But anyway, I'm using this Sharpie and it just kind of looks a little too blue. If I'm being honest, and I'm not sure that I love that, but I'm already well into the set to change my mind at this point. So it's just gonna look like this, okay? The only thing though is, again, I don't love this nail and I don't know what to do with it. I wanted to add some silver, kind of like the same silver that I've been using to make highlights like here and like on the eye and the nose and stuff. as well as here to outline the letters. I really love the way it looks, honestly. I thought maybe I could do something along the lines of this design, but now I kind of don't like it. Like, I kind of don't like it with the set, within the set. I kind of feel like it doesn't quite work. So all of that to say is I think I might toss this one or just like set it off to the side because I don't like it. I'm going to keep working on this one. That is the guy in the bunny costume. I really do like the way that the ink kind of smeared a little bit here on this side. I'm going to use my liner gel to do some outlines. I'm going to cure it and then go over top with the silver mirror gel. Because I think I really do like the way that that is kind of playing within the design. So yeah. I don't know, I'm trying to think of what else I can do. I showed you all the sketch already, and the sketch was supposed to be for just 5 nails, and then I was going to basically like freestyle the other 5, which is why I did this one. Yeah, I thought I was doing something with the freestyling, but I don't know, should I? Like, now that I'm seeing it like on screen in my monitor, I'm seeing that it's not that bad. But I don't know. Let me just keep working, okay? I'm gonna keep working on this one. Let me set these off to the side while I just like vent a little bit. Hope that's all right with you all. I also need to empty my trash because it's just kind of accumulating around me now. I need gloves. Let me put some gloves on. Okie dokie. So one thing that I keep getting hung up on when it comes to this design is honestly like the amount of detail that I'm trying to avoid, but yet find myself obsessing over. Like, I keep trying not to overdo it with details, but before I know it, it's been like an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh, I've only been working on one nail. Cool. That's kind of what happened yesterday. So this outline that I'm doing isn't even like super detailed or anything like that. It shouldn't be, rather, because it's literally just here for just a little definition. I'm not trying to go overboard with details. I think it's also because I just don't do a good enough job on my sketches, and I know that that's something that I need to work on. I've been trying to work on that since years ago. Even in college, y'all, I was not very good at sketching. I don't like spending too much time sketching because I would rather dedicate the time that I'm spending on sketching on the actual piece. But then, do you even know what you're doing? And I'm like, no, but I'm here. And we're doing something. I haven't been feeling great the last few weeks. I'm sure like a lot of you who are tuned in to what's happening, just doesn't feel like a very good time right now, you know? And one thing that I've caught myself thinking is like what am I even doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I find myself thinking about how, and this is a very not good way to think. By the way, I recognize that. I just find myself thinking a lot about how what I'm doing in general, like, it doesn't matter. And I don't want to feel like that. Because in the grand scheme of things, while it may not matter or impact any cause in particular, I do think it's important for us to still find joy in our day-to-day. And a way in which I find joy is in art. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like what I have to share like does not matter at the end of the day when there's so much saddies going on, you know? But it's like, I cannot allow my happiness to be taken away. I refuse to allow that to happen. Art is one of those things for me that just like, I've said it once, I'll say it a bajillion times again until I'm blue in the face. It keeps me alive, but I still can't help but to feel like useless, basically. That's what I feel like. I feel useless. And I know that's not true. I do what I can in my community. I support organizations, you know, as much as I financially can. I do what I can, but I still can't help but to feel like, you know. I did want to touch on something that is more on the positive side. And I did want to share. I'm going to keep working on the set and I'm just going to talk. It's probably not going to line up with whatever it is that you're seeing on like the nail cam, but that's okay because I'm not going to be talking about what I'm doing. Anyway, so a few days ago, It'll probably be weeks by the time you see it. So a few weeks ago, my husband and I attended a show here in Chicago, and we saw an artist from Michoacan, which is both of my parents' home state in Mexico. And it was the coolest experience, bro. Like, oh my gosh. My husband and I were on a high. Cool thing about the performance, right? It was at a vintage shop here in Chicago in the Pilsen neighborhood. And Pilsen is primarily, well, it's being gentrified, TBH. But at one point, it was primarily Latinos living in that neighborhood and making it amazing. And there are still quite a few Latinos in the neighborhood, and so it's always really special to visit because it's beautiful the way in which we kind of create like a home away from home. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I was able to experience what it's like to live in Mexico when I was very, very young. I was born in California, but my parents were kind of like trying to find their footing. You know, they were trying to like settle somewhere. They weren't sure if they wanted to live here in the States or back in Mexico. So we did a lot of back and forth. Anyway, my parents settled in Michoacan for quite a few years. I want to say maybe like 5-6 years. So I have that kind of experience and that connection to my parents' hometown because I literally experienced it too, you know, like I called it home. Like my first 5-6 years of life were in Mexico. Yeah, I don't know. I feel connected. Not to say that you have to have lived there or in your parents' like hometown to really feel that connection, but I feel like it really does help, you know? And so for me, staying connected to my roots and like feeling that sense of belonging in a place where, I don't know, dude, I don't know. What I was trying to say is it felt good to have that sense of belonging. I am a Latina and I can only speak from my own personal experience. Sometimes it just kind of feels like I'm not welcome in certain spaces or just in general in this country. And it just felt good to be among community, sharing the same experiences, whether good or bad. It was really meaningful, and I'm so grateful to have had that experience in that night. It really made me feel like I have a lot more to do for my community, not just locally, but in the grand scheme of things, you know? So anyway, long story short, this musician from Michoacan, from Morelia in particular, I think he was here visiting family and he just decided to play a show, and the vintage shop just so happened to give him a space to do that. It was like super cozy. I did vlog a little bit, so you'll probably see some of that later, but super cool to kind of be there to support him and to feel that connection. So we saw Walter Esau and he played a brilliant freaking show, dude. I cannot explain to you how absolutely amazing it was. Like this man gave his entire body and soul to this performance. And mind you, it was like less than 100 people at the show. It just reminded me of how important art is, especially when there's so much going on. It's what unites us. As much as I try to stay connected to my community and things like that, I mean, I am primarily a homebody, and sometimes you really do need to peel yourself out of your house, you know, like at least I do, so that you can experience things outside of your comfort zone. And to leave the house, experience this really special moment with this artist, it was so meaningful, and I was so touched by just that connection that I felt, you know, being there. And so all of that to say, I hope that while I know that it is kind of hard to stay grounded and to not fall into a pit of despair, and I'm mainly saying this for me, it's so important to still create. And I feel like, yeah, that's something that I'm trying to practice myself, you know. As I said, I can't help but to sometimes feel like useless, like what I'm doing isn't enough and what I'm doing isn't going to make anything better. And that's a lie. That is a lie that I am not going to tell myself. And I hope you don't either. I hope that you know that you sharing your art, your magic however it is that you choose to share it. I hope that you know that it is important and valued, and experiencing happiness and joy is already a huge act in and of itself. Because sometimes I think that people want us to be sad all the time and hopeless, and while it's valid to feel those things, again, I'm talking to myself, it's valid to feel those things, but it also is important to not stay in that wavelength for too long, because we cannot give that satisfaction to those that want us sad and hopeless. Be happy. Experience happiness outside of your phone. Experience joy. Experience life off your phone. Again, that is something I'm talking to myself. Literally, I'm talking to myself. But maybe I'm talking to you too. Also, guys, I'm kind of obsessed with my background. Those little noodles. I just realized the backlight is off. There we go. I'm really enjoying building my background. I don't know. I like to change things up for myself just because I don't know. I like it. I mean, I do spend the majority of my days here, whether that's like creating, editing, doing nails, all that good stuff. So any Hoosers, I hope you guys enjoy the background. I am enjoying it as I edit, so I hope you enjoy it as you see it. But I did want to add a couple of like little extra flair to the set. So I'm adding these stars, these silver stars, to some of the nails. And then I'm continuing on my freestyle situation with the Sharpie. So as you can see here, I'm using a slightly thicker brush, still tapered, as I mentioned. And yeah, you can kind of see how you can create kind of a marbling effect with the Sharpie as well. So I thought it was worth showing you. So since I'm not layering different colors, I'm basically just sticking to the blue marker. I like to seal everything before I start anything else over top. So I seal everything with matte top coat, as you can see. And then to make things kind of easier for me, I did handwrite the "They Made Me Do It" message. This is from a clip in the movie where someone vandalizes the school and they spray paint this phrase, if you will, or this sentence, "They made me do it." So I started out with a marker that I usually use, and I really thought I was going to get away with just using the marker, the really fine tip marker. But because it didn't look as saturated or as bold as I wanted it to, I do end up going over that with the Ballpit liner gel. And then I did this really cute gradient nail, adding some stars over that as well. And then I felt that the "They Made Me Do It" nail needed a little something extra, so I do add that flake liquid, which I'm kind of obsessed with. But anyway, this is what the set ends up looking like. What do you guys think? I think there are some solid nails in here, like the thumbs, the ring fingers, absolutely my favorite. I also really like the pinkies. I really end up liking the pinkies for some reason. Yeah, they're pretty cool. As I mentioned earlier, I did keep that blooming gel nail after all in the set. It did kind of, I don't know, it did something. I think it was okay. I hope that you enjoyed this video or found it even just the teeny tiniest bit informative, and that you were inspired to try out some ink nail art because it's super fun. I am going to try my best to make another set pretty soon. Things have kind of settled with our new kitty. Her name is Chip, by the way, and she's doing a lot better. We still haven't introduced her to our other 3 kitties, so that is going to be quite the experience, I'm sure. Wish us luck. Keep us in your thoughts and prayers because we will need them, especially with Lou. Lou is not the friendliest kitty. I'll update you all in a vlog, I'm sure. In the meantime, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you come back for the next one. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit the notification bell because it'll alert you whenever I do post a video. Take care of yourselves, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.